Hello guys, long time no see. Now this is going to be a video response to Stu, ninjabearhug, top 10 platformer games. So many to choose from. I'm not going to try and put them in order either because that's just not how favourite things work. One day it might be completely different to another day, so I'm just going to have the 10 games there. And before I start, I should give a bit of a disclaimer here. There's lots of classics that I haven't played yet, so this is going to be devoid of some of the really amazing platformers and games that probably will get into the top 10 at some point in the future when I've finally played them. Now then, okay, I was going to include some games in this list that probably wouldn't traditionally be thought of as platformers, but my main kind of priority for choosing games that that feel like platformers, as Stu said, is that navigation of your environment in an interesting and dynamic way. So I was actually going to have a Tony Hawk's game in this series of platformer games, and that's probably stretching it a little bit too far, but yeah, that kind of feel though, that navigation of your environment, like I said, in a dynamic way, is something that Tony Hawk's really was all about. And there's lots of other games that kind of feel like that but aren't really thought of as platformers that I didn't include in the list. So this is kind of traditional style platformers. For the main part, it is traditional style platformers. So I'll start with the most obvious one first, Sonic 2. Now, Sonic 1 was the one that blew me away as a kid. It's the one that just opened your eyes to what 16-bit could do. But Sonic 2 perfected it with the spin mechanic, of course, made that a little bit more exciting, and the level design was great, and there's nothing I can say about this that you just don't know already, so I'll shut up. Sonic 2. Right, next one is Vector Man. There is also Vector Man 2, which I have somewhere that I have not played yet. So this series on the Mega Drive, really great graphics. One of the few games on Mega Drive where the programmers really pushed the system and it kind of made you realise that it could do more than most programmers were bothering to get out of it. The Mega Drive is so much more capable in terms of graphics and performance than a lot of developers bothered, but Vector Man really shows off what the Mega Drive can do. Gorgeous looking, really fast paced, really interesting to play. Yeah, the navigation of your environment is fun too, but yeah, just a really great game all round. What else can I say about it? You need to play this if you've got a Mega Drive. You need to pick it up, it's really cool. Yeah, it'll impress you. Right, next one. I'm sure I could have done a better synopsis of what that game's all about, but there you go, we're moving on swiftly. The next one is Quackshot. Another very obvious one, another very popular one. It's got slight RPG elements to it in the sense that you have to go back and forth and looking for items, and there's slight puzzle elements to some of the levels, but just a really solid platformer, classic action, great weapons, great level design, and just a really fun game all round. So that's Quackshot. And I'm saying some of these really obvious choices, so what are you going to do? I know that one of Stu's kind of requests was to give him suggestions for games. Well, as he's already got the entire Mega Drive collection, there's not much I can tell you about the Mega Drive games there, Stu. But one game that I could say that you should pick up if you haven't already, that's not in the PAL full set, is Pulseman. Now this game, I think it's Japanese exclusive. I think it came out on the download service for Mega Drive, the streaming service rather for Mega Drive in America, but definitely didn't get a European release. This game is just another game that shows off the Mega Drive's capabilities in terms of the graphics, and it's used to a very kind of psychedelic effect almost. A lot of the levels seem quite trippy, and so it's a joy to play in that sense. It looks very different to most of the games, most of the platformers and games in general that you'll play. Some really interesting ideas in there. But again, a really fun way of moving around the environment. You've got this charge move that sends you off bouncing around like a pinball on occasion, and just really good looking, fun, fast paced, very cool game, Pulseman, with very cool box art as well, as you can see there. And I've showed that game off before in the past. Right, last Mega Drive game, and I've just realised that quite a hell of a lot of the games platformers that I've chosen were actually Mega Drive. That wasn't an intention. I did go around all of the systems that I've got and tried to pick out a selection, but I ended up with Mega Drive apparently. One of the ones that I did put back on the shelf, that having originally put in this list, was on the PS2, and that was Ape Escape 2. Now Ape Escape 2 does feel again like a platformer. Obviously you are moving around environments and platforms and that kind of thing, but I bumped it. I'm not sure why. You can count that as number 11 on this list if you like. Is Ape Escape 2 on PS2. Anyway, we have James Pond 2 Robocod. Now I remember this game being huge as a kid. I remember this game being massive. That castle that has all the doors to all the different levels just seems ridiculously big, and the levels are all fun. What can you say about James Pond 2? Yeah, just cute looking game. Again, it's a platformer with an interesting, unique mechanic with regards to how you navigate your environments, and that is of course the extendable body. So if you don't know already, there is your little robo fish dude. Oh, where's a good pic? Well, anyway, that's his body extended there, so he can basically extend up indefinitely and grab onto ledges, and it just gives it that unique way of getting around the levels. And it's that kind of unique, simple idea that is a key to a lot of awesome platformers. Just to give you that little bit of individuality and that little bit of intrigue into how you navigate those environments, and that's what I really like about this game in particular, and a lot of my favourite platformers. Sorry, I'm a bit bunged up. Okay, now then, moving on to other systems, we have on the original Xbox ToeJam & Earl 3. Now, I love the whole series, but this is my favourite. It goes back to the roots of the original. So if you've played the first one, it's basically the same as that, but in 3D. So you can't say any worse than that, can you? Better, worse, who cares? Really fun game, lots of character. The battling of the enemies is simple yet effective. Moving around the levels is what it's all about. It's about exploration. It's an exploration platformer. That's what it's all about, and that's why I love it. Lots of fun. This inclusion of the new character, unnecessary. She's a bit annoying, and these two themselves can be a little bit trying too hard to be cool, if you know what I mean, from time to time. But they have just the right amount of charisma to pull it through. But the levels themselves are what gives the game its feel. It's just yeah, they're really plush environments, really pretty to walk around in, and you really want to find out what's going on out there. You know, ToeJam & Earl 3, really fun game. Now then, 360 are on there. By the way, this is a new Daft Punk album. Been listening to it on repeat since they released it. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Yeah. First listen, kind of was thinking, this is Daft Punk. Second listen, ah. Third listen, this is Daft Punk. Yeah. Very impressed. Yeah, anyway, back to the platformers. We're on the 360 now, and these two games, I feel like they're kind of platformers. Like I said, Stu was saying, you know, games that feel like platformers, and these two feel like platformers to me. One of them more obviously so. One of them people might think that's not a platformer, that's like a first-person puzzle thing, adventure game. Well, fuck you, I'm calling it a platformer, and it's Portal 2. Yeah, Portal 2 feels like a platformer to me. It feels like a platformer because you just navigate in your environment in an interesting way, in a dynamic and interesting way. Like I said, obviously with the portals, gives it that extra element, and it's all about spatial awareness, which is what platforming is all about, really, for me. You know, yeah, the spatial awareness and just flowing through level. When you know the levels, it's got that other. It has got that replayability as well to it that great platformers do. Is that once you know the levels and you can navigate them smoothly in one long kind of unbroken path, it just becomes really it gives it another level basically. But yes, puzzle elements of course, story is great, humour genuinely funny. I've done a review on this, if you haven't seen it already, quite a while ago, but I'll link that in the lower bar. Yeah. Okay, next one on 360. More obviously a platformer, and this is what I thought first person or 3D next generation platformers would be like. It took a long time to get there, unless people can suggest others for me that are similar in feel. I don't know if I've missed some, but this is what I felt platformers should be like, kind of in the future sort of thing. And they finally did it with this game, and it critically acclaimed. Didn't sell that well, unfortunately, which probably means we're not going to see a second one. Oh god, I'd love to see a second one. It is Mirror's Edge. Yeah. everything I've said before about the things that are important and central to platformers is embodied in this game. Navigating environments in a dynamic way, with a unique way of doing so. You've got obviously the different ways of bouncing up off the platforms, and it's just so smooth. And again, replayability is there once you've mastered the ways of getting around. It just to do those levels in those smooth, gaming perfection. So if I was gonna have a top 3, this would be in that top 3. Although I don't kind of do things that way. I'm just saying it's up there. It's one at best. So if you haven't played it already and you've given it a miss and you've got 360, get on it. I don't even know if it's on PS3. It probably is. Whatever you've got, get this on it. It's fucking ace. It takes a little bit of getting used to, because there are some new things to learn and that kind of thing. But give it an hour or so, you'll be aware. You'll be smooth. Absolutely brilliant. Can't recommend it enough. This is another one I've done a review on, so I guess I'll link them in the low bar if you want to have a look. I've done a review of that a long time ago, when I was more prolific on this channel. Sorry, I've kind of slowed down with the old videos lately. You've been busy and doing this and that and the other, and but yeah, that's it. So those are all of the physical games that I've got in the list. Yeah, that's 8 games. So there's 2 more to go, and they are both digital only at presently. The first one is called Speedrunner, and it's on Xbox Live. I don't know if it's on PS Network. Speedrunner is a cool game that I have featured in a previous video, and I'll link that in the low bar as well if you want to see footage. But it's a very simple game. Guy moves from left to right, navigating platforms as fast as he can. He's got a swing. He's got a swing mechanic though, like a rope kind of thing, or whatever you want to call it, hook line. That gives it that unique feel and keeps the fluidity of the motion through the levels, and that's really addictive and compelling. And that game in particular reminds me of a game that I used to play in my head on the bus when I was younger, going to school. I'm probably a little bit past that as well. Tell me if I'm mental, tell me if anybody else did this. But I used to play this game in my head whilst looking out the window, that I'd see a little guy. I'd imagine a little guy running across the landscape that was near the road, whatever, the hedges, the walls, brick walls, the whatever obstacles were there. I'd imagine a guy running and jumping and leaping and navigating and just platforming basically. And that's probably from playing Sonic. Now that I think about it, it probably is from playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I never put those two and two together, you know. It probably is where that came from. But this is something I used to do in my head, and Speedrunner comes very close to kind of embodying what it was that I was imagining all those years ago. My crazy little warped brain. But yeah, really cool game, Speedrunner. Dead simple, dead cheap. I think it's an indie game. I can't remember exactly. I think it is, you know. I think it's an indie game, which means it's about 80 Microsoft points, which is about 60p, which is now the next game that I've got on this list. And I will notice that there has been no Mario games on this list, and that is because it just goes without saying. I could have made a top 10 of Mario games, probably. But he's not in this list, he's in other people's lists. I'll leave that to other people, okay? So get on this, people, make your top 10 platformers and try and pick some more obscure ones that I haven't heard of. I know I've failed badly in picking interesting obscure ones. Most of these are very common and well known, but there it is, that's what I chose. Yeah, so the number 1 final game, if I was to have a number 1, this would be it. And it's digital only, and again it's on Xbox Live. Again, I don't know if it's on PS3 network, I don't think so. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know what it is, and it is Applejack. The pair of them together as one entry into this series. If I had to pick one, it'd be Applejack 2. It's a bit more refined. But Applejack, again, I'll link a video that I've done about it in the low bar, is the perfect modern embodiment of retro platformers. I mean, you've got Rayman Origins, which is really a modern platformer. It's got a retro feel to it, but you know, the high def graphics, the and all the rest of it. It is a retro platformer, but I'm gonna, just for the sake of this video, because hyperbole is effective. I would say that Applejack is the perfect embodiment of a modern attempt at a retro style platformer, and by that I mean just a simple platformer, but it's not simple in a sense. I'm doing a terrible job of telling to you why this game is so great, and I'm not going to edit because I'm raw like that. Yeah, I'm punk. No editing, motherfucker, because I can't be arsed. Yeah. Let's start again. Right. It's got like I said, in a lot of the other games, it's got a unique game mechanic that gives it a unique flavour, a compelling edge to it, a fresh approach to platforming, and that is the way that you target enemies. You can pick up enemies and throw them at other enemies to destroy them, whatever you want to call it, and you can actually use your enemies to navigate the levels as well, so you can stand on top of the heads of your enemies to get around. It feels like, when you're playing, it feels like there's a lot of options as to how to go about the levels. It feels really free form kind of thing, because you feel like you have a lot of control. So you've got the targeting, you've got the manipulating of the enemies, you know, you can move blocks, parts of the scenery around. You can also rewind time as well if you mess up. Yeah, there's various different ways to get around. Various things have been included in this game that just make it feel really fresh and yet really familiar as well, because it's just so solid. It's really well programmed. Cool looking graphics. What else can I say about it? It's Applejack, man. Really go see the video. If I had #1, that'd be my #1 platformer. It's huge as well. I mean, this game is 80 Microsoft points. That's like 60p. It's huge. The game is it's big. It's really big. It's really big. It lasts for a while, and here it's just doing strange things. What's left of it, anyway. So that's my top 10. Yeah. So check out the videos that I've linked in the lower bar to go into more depth on some of the games that I've mentioned. And that's it. Yeah. Cheers for your vids, Stu, and I'll see you lot later.